How's it going, mates? My name's Zonder, and welcome to my Dungeons Guide. Now, you just joined Hypixel Skyblock and you want to try the Dungeons feature. I don't blame you. I love it. I've been playing non-stop Dungeons for the past 2 weeks, and that says a lot because I am a new Hypixel Skyblock player. Now, in order to be able to access the dungeons, you first have to go from the hub to the dungeon portal, and once you do this, you are able to access it through your fast travel menu. Now, once you're inside of the Dungeons hub, you can head down here to do the races for the free epic talisman that I've already done a video on, or you can start looking at the actual Dungeons content. Heading up here, you can talk to Malik the blacksmith. You can use him to upgrade your gear. Mort, he pulls you into the actual dungeons for you to play. And Ophelia, she has a bunch of items that you can buy to better yourself. Now, starting off, one of the most important things you could do is talk to Malik here. He gives you 6 options, and this may seem a little confusing at first, but I promise it's not as confusing. So for salvaging, inside of his 6 options, you have the salvage dungeon items, repair dungeon items, essence crafting, basic reforging, advanced reforging, and the essence shop. I'll get into essence later, so don't worry about that just yet, but starting off, let's look at the salvage dungeon item. So in order to do this, you have to actually pick up items that you get while running dungeons that you don't need. You put them into this slot here, and then you can destroy them to get the essence. You can repair items inside of the repair dungeon item feature, which you may be wondering, why would you do that? Items don't have durability in this game, but they actually do. If you have a dungeon item, it can break if you use it too much. So you can go here to repair the item. The essence crafting menu lets you put in whatever dungeon item you may have, such as my flower of truth that I just got. And for 50 wither essence, I can add a little star to it and make it even stronger in dungeons. Now, if you want to see how strong your item is going to be inside of dungeons, you can look at the little gray numbers next to the scores. So if you look at the damage numbers, you see 110 and then 242. The 242 are bonus stats that I'm going to have while only inside of dungeons. So you want to find whatever gear you're going to use and 5-star it as soon as possible. Now you can also access the basic reforging that you could do with the blacksmith down in the hub. That's the same exact one that you already know. The advanced reforging is something only Malik can do. If you have an item and then whatever reforged stone you may have, so think the lapis reforged stone that you get from the lapis mines, you can put your pickaxe and saw it on the left and then the reforged stone, and it'll reforge it to the specific reforge that the stone gives you. Now the essence shop, this is when I'm going to actually go into essence for you. So this game has 7 different kinds of essence. The wither essence, the spider essence, undead, dragon, gold, diamond, and ice. Different items use different kinds of essence. For example, my flower of truth just used my wither essence. However, if you have like a zombie armor or skeleton armor, it's most likely going to use your undead essence. Now you can use that inside of the feature that I showed you before, the essence crafting, to upgrade it, or you can do it in the essence shop. Inside the essence shop, you can choose to spend your undead or wither essence to get bonuses. You can use these to buy extra boss luck, so your rewards from bosses could be better. Looting, Infinity Boom TNT, Help of the Fairies 1, and you can just buy all of these upgrades to help you while you're in dungeons. It does not apply if you're not in dungeons. The Wither Essence shop's the same thing, except it boosts your base stats. Now that's all for Malik here. I'm going to go straight to Ophelia now and show you what you can do with her. So, starting off, you're probably only going to have the undead bow, some arrows, maybe the super cleaver, and then I believe it cuts off right here. So in order to be able to access the rest of this stuff, oh, you'll also be able to access Super Boom TNT. But in order to access the rest of the stuff, you have to actually play the dungeons and get completions. I have dungeon completions all the way to floor 7, so I'm able to access everything inside of Ophelia. But you won't be able to do that at first. Now, the main things you want to look at in here is maybe the dungeon potions. This is really good for anybody who just needs extra stats. I recommend that every run you do at the dungeon, you have a dungeon potion on. Another thing is that if you want to play the mage or healer class, which I'm going to be going into soon, you can buy their respective helmets here that you can also upgrade to be better inside of dungeons. So the Mender helmet and the Dark Goggles if you're wanting to play those two. Now, moving on to the actual classes, if you talk to Mort, I believe you can look right here. So, dungeons have 5 classes. If you've played any RPG, I'm certain you know about the classes. There is Healer, Mage, Berserker, Archer, and Tank. Now, as you can see, my class level is a little low because I just recently started doing dungeons, but I've been doing non-stop dungeons and trying to learn as much as I can for the past 2 weeks. But anyways, while you're here, you can decide which role you want to play. I am currently playing Berserker because I'm trying to do a progression path that I made. Now, if you want a guide on each of these classes, I can do one for you. I just need to know that there's people wanting to know about it. But I'm probably going to be releasing a video on this dungeon progression path that I have created and ran by a bunch of other people that do floor 7s just to make sure it's the right type of thing to do. But yeah, that's a video for another time. So, you're looking at this menu and you want to be able to do the other stuff, but I promise it's not a good idea to do. First, you have to do the entrance. And then every time you complete a floor, you're able to access the next floor. Now, one thing that you may not realize at first is that the power curve in this game and in dungeons is kind of crazy. So, entrance is going to be really easy. It's just going to be a steamroll. You may have some problems with it at first, but that's just because you're not running the dungeon's gear. And that's just, it's going to be inevitable. Unless you have really good gear starting off, so you've been grinding the actual Skyblock game, you're going to have to deal with doing pretty bad in these beginning floors. Now, in each of these floors, they have their own bosses. Floor 1 has Bonzo, he is a clown. Floor 2 has Scarf, he's a necromancer. Floor 3 has the Professor, he uses guardians. Floor 4 has Thorn, he has a bunch of animals that attack you. Floor 5 has Livid, he's an assassin. Floor 6 has Satin, he's also a necromancer. And then floor 7 has the big boss of the catacombs, Necron. Now, you're not going to be able to do Necron anytime soon when you first start off, so don't even worry about that. But this is the end goal, because this is where you can get the most money inside of dungeons and the best gear. Now, after you do your entrance runs, I recommend that you want to keep farming those entrance runs, or maybe even some of the floor 1 runs, so that you're able to pick up dungeons gear. Now, the dungeon gear that you're going to get while starting off will be most likely the skeleton grunt armor and the zombie grunt armor. Sorry, I'm going off of memory here. So, those are good for their respective things. If you're wanting to be like a berserker, zombie would obviously better. If you're wanting to go for archer, skeleton's going to be better. And things like that. Now again, I'm going to make a class guide if there's any interest in that. But all that you need to know is that you should grab whatever dungeon gear that you can get. If you don't already have just great armor, you should grab whatever dungeon gear you get and try to use that. Now, one last warning before I end off the video is that I know there's a lot of people who want to start off dungeons with their dragon armor. Please, for the love of God, do not essence craft your dragon armor. I've seen so many people do that. I promise you're not going to have a good time. So by using the essence crafting on your dragon armor, you raise the catacombs level requirement, which is kind of like everything else in this game, where you have to grind for everything possible. So if you look right here in the catacombs dungeoneering section, I am currently catacombs level 20, about to be 21. Now, this means that I have access to certain gear that you may not have to. So, yeah, I can basically access the gear that you can't at the very beginning of the game, such as the shadow goggles. They require a certain number of catacombs level. As you can see with the wither goggles, it requires catacombs level 28. I won't be able to use this if I buy this. It'll be the same sort of thing if you upgrade your dragon gear. You won't be able to use it. So I highly recommend you don't do that. One thing that I want to talk about before I finally end off the video is that I get a lot of people that drop by my stream, which I do stream every day in case you're interested, and they always ask, what can I do to get into dungeons? And they want to just immediately hop into dungeons. Now, while I think that dungeons is very fun and everybody should try it at least once, there's a bit of a problem with it. So a lot of these people that hop into dungeons haven't played the actual game. They don't have access to any of the gear or the stats that you should already have access to. Now, if you want to be able to do dungeons as soon as possible, which I don't blame you, it's a fun system, there are a few things that you really need to get. I'm going to cover those in my progression video, but just a little brief overview. One of the main things that you need to get all of before you start dungeons is the fairy souls. It is so important for you to do the fairy souls. You can check to see how many you have from the fairy souls guide. And basically you want to get all of the available fairy souls from all of the available areas. And go to the fairy down in the hub, which you can look at a video to find all the fairy souls and everything. And you can exchange it for health and strength. That'll boost your damage and your survivability in dungeons. Because dungeons will pop you like a pimple. They will just destroy you. I promise you're not going to have a good time when you start off. But yeah, a lot of people always come to the stream and ask, why am I doing so bad with dungeons? Why do I have so much mana? Why do you just... The problem is that you're not ready for dungeons. Now, I know a lot of people want to get into this as soon as possible, which I do not blame you. But the problem is you're just not ready. Now, again, if you want to be able to do dungeons, I recommend you at least do fairy souls. One last thing that I want to cover before I end off the video is that while inside of dungeons, you're going to find puzzles and blessings. So, by doing the secrets, you can access blessings. Blessings will increase your total damage, your survivability, it'll increase your intelligence, your mana. It'll do a lot for you. And those are very important to do. The more blessings and secrets you've done, the higher your score will be and the better stuff you can get. Now, the puzzles are all different. There are so many different guides on those. I'm certain you can look up on YouTube to find them. If anybody's interested, I can make a guide on it. There are also mods that can help you with the puzzles. I can also make a video about the mods that you can use to have an easier time in dungeons. But yeah, that should be it for the video, in all honesty. There's not much else I can really cover that I can think of off the top of my head. If you think I missed anything, please make sure to tell me inside of the comments below, and I'll try to do better next time. But yeah, this has been Zonder, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.